Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me in this broadcast. I remain Chigozendi, the host anchor. What we do here is to promote humanity and ensure the peaceful coexistence of all and sundry, especially within the Nigerian states and across the nations of the world. We report breaking news and interactions and in-depth analysis of same. People express their opinions, and as much as we are guided by the principle of equity, fairness, and justice. This is a disclaimer. We are not in support of violence of any sort, and I want to make it very clear that what we do here is to discuss about the happenings that affect us as humans in the area of economy, security, and development as well, and the current or trending issues within the Nigerian state. And we also give people opportunity, the grassroots, to express themselves about issues that borders on their own welfare, security, and the impact of same in their lives and the society in general. We don't support violence, we don't promote violence, we don't support anything that will incite violence. We discuss issues and give everyone opportunity to express himself, provided he sticks to the YouTube rules or community guidelines and not insulting any personality. Now, let me make it very clear. It is the act of barbaric. It's an act of barbaric to take life. Nobody has the right to take life. Not even the government has the right to take the life of an innocent person. Now, what happened in Edo State is regrettable, is condemnable, but that would have been avoidable if the government is proactive. The killings in Ondo State, in Enugu State, the sacking of communities by the Fulani militias or invaders are also barbaric, where children even become victims, are being victimized, not just victimized, killed, burned, and people drove out from their own ancestral homes. Is an act of barbarism, and it is condemnable, of course, in its highest term. So burning people alive is a primitive way of repressing or expressing one's anger or dissatisfaction. What does that tell us? That people are losing confidence in the government. People are losing confidence in the security operatives to dispense justice, to hold accountable the culprits or the perpetrators of these heinous crimes. If the government have shown some level of commitment and decisiveness in addressing these issues, nibbling it at the bud, we wouldn't have gotten to this place. It appears some people are gaining from this. As the case is, just as when Jonathan was the president of Nigeria, he said that the Boko Haram are in his cabinet. Means there are influential personalities or persons within the corridor of power that indirectly or directly might be promoting this chaos, unrest, ethnic buharas across the nation. These have destabilized the state of the economy, and security-wise, people are apprehensive, just as the Uromi people and the Do people have been crying for several months, or not, if not years, over the invasions, kidnapping, abductions of their people in their farmlands. People could no longer go to farm. Having called on the government for several occasions, if the government had been proactive rather than being reactive, especially on issues that borders on security of life and property of the citizens, which should be the priority of any responsible government, such crises wouldn't have degenerated or escalated to this point. These are issues we keep on discussing. How do the government nip this at the bud? If now this security architecture is no longer fashionable, could no longer meet the security challenges or address the myriads of challenges bordering on security and otherwise, the government or the state government should write to the federal government to devolve more power to the states so that the states can control their own security architecture. They can address the issue of security peculiar to their own locality. The promptness, the proactiveness should be fundamental if you want to address the rate of how crime spreads. So taking an order from Abuja, from the IGP, before it is being approved and the rest of them, as some people has claimed that even when distress calls have been put across, you hardly could see prompt response on the part of the security operatives. By the time there will be, of course, they arrive at the scene, the culprits or the perpetrators of such heinous crime may have fled the scene, only for the innocent passerbys or people resident within those localities will now form victim, will be arrested or suspicion on the basis of suspicion. So these are fundamental issues that are begging for urgent answers. So people have called for state police, some oppose it and some support it. Some believe that the state governors will become more corrupt, more autocratic, might use them to oppress their supposed opponents or enemies. Be that as it may, it is very important that the government, of course, review its security strategies and response time. There must be a response time. If something is happening within a locality, what is the response time so that you can save the situation before it degenerates? We are not responsible for whatever has happened. Of course, in Edo State, you can't hold me responsible. We are analyzing, as a national analyst and social critics, we analyze issues, give people opportunity to also express themselves. With this, I think the government should understand the impulse of the masses, of people, of course, the vulnerable, those who are directly affected by the continued degeneration of the state of security, poverty, and economic woes. So what the government is to do is to collect those informations and know, of course, the security operatives and the army chiefs or security chiefs, let them work on these things. All those important informations could be of use to the government, but sometimes it appears the government is not keenly interested or paying attention to what the masses out there is saying. I think it is important that you listen to the grassroots outcry or outburst from the people, get to know, understand their pains, understand whatever anyone is saying now. If you are from Edo State, you will pour out your frustrations and express yourself. Now, what I expect the government to do, and most especially the leaders of thought, the political leaders, traditional leaders from the north, to call for caution rather than escalating the situation. As we learned that from on this unconfirmed sources that by April 7th or thereabout, that the north will start their own escalation in the north. It doesn't help issues. You don't solve an error with an error. So you will rather compound the situation. What the government should do at this time, as I maintain my positions, is let those opinion thoughts, people from the north, from the south, to come out and discuss how do we forge a common front. How do we ensure the coexistence of all are sundry? It is not just being one-sided. When it happens to your own people, you react. When it happens to another people, you kept mute. With that, you don't exemplify any leadership quality. Everybody is human being. So no one deserves to be subjected to such level of cruelty or jungle justice. It is barbaric, it is unacceptable. Any responsible man who have fear of God, who have regard for humanity, will not want to see his fellow human being being tortured in such a manner. I condemn it anytime, anywhere. That is my stance. But how do we degenerate to this point? That is an important issue we must get to understand. Somebody saying that soon you will be arrested. Be arrested by expressing my own opinion. Is the government not aware of this? They have more information, more classical information bordering on issues on ground. But the political will and the proactiveness and the commitment to ensure that a lasting peace is ensured across the regions is what is lacking. So if the government has the interests of the people at heart, you should listen to those in the grassroots. This is not the time to farm an amber of war. You call your people. This is an unfortunate incident. How do we stop the escalation? From the north, the northern political elders or political or traditional opinion leaders should come up at this time, not being one-sided. Nobody is supporting the cruel and barbaric, of course, extermination of these people. If the government is working, there would have been promptness, contact, of course, but even though some good people might want to call, who will respond? A situation where even when you go to police station to report, you have to fuel their tanks, or you have to make some other logistics, individuals, before they could respond to such a scene. I've called, of course, in one occasion, I put a call to the emergency line or response line, informing them that is a situation here that needed their urgent rescue. I did that as a human, because of the empathy I have. I wouldn't want somebody, an innocent person, be lynched. You know what happened? After 48 hours, they called me back, say, yes, I called so day. That did any person respond? You can imagine, 48 hours, something you called for their prompt response in Lagos. They called me back after 48 hours, telling me that, yes, I made a call, there was a distress call put through across to them, that did anyone respond? I said, I waited there for barely 30 minutes or so. Nobody, no presence of police and the rest of the security operative to quell the situation, to arrest the situation from degenerating. So in such a situation, who do you have to blame? The government is to be blamed, because there are no infrastructures, there are no facilities, and even the military security operatives are being overstretched. Look at, most of them are complaining. Their welfare, they are not even themselves secured. So how do you fix this thing? When people come to provide solutions, allow people to express their own, pour out their grievances, and the government work with them, work with the people, synergize, call both parties and resolve the issue. That is what leadership is all about. Leadership is not just sharing money, disbursing money, giving appointment to your cronies and allies, and things are degenerating, worsening, and no one is paying attention because it has not gotten to you. Nobody will feel happy when his own brothers or children are being killed in such gruesome manner. But unfortunately, it appears that life has no meaning, no importance attached to human life and dignity in Nigeria. It is quite unfortunate. The primary responsibility of any responsible government in any clan is the safety and the property, of course, to safeguard the life and the property of the citizens and anyone residents within this. All this escalation would have stopped if the government has done the needful, especially the state government, as in the case of Edo, in the case of Enugu, where people were crying out for more than 4 years for the government to come to their rescue. They failed to do so. So should people now resort to self-defense or taking the law into their hands? Now you start coming after them. Why? You have intelligence reports on the breakdown of law and order, or a possible threats to certain communities or region, you fail to act proactively for whatever interest or whatever reason, it's not tenable. You, as a government, have the responsibility by the Constitution or the provision of the Constitution, have taken an oath of allegiance to protect the life of the citizens. So, under no circumstances should you give any excuse. It's not tenable. It's not acceptable. You should be held responsible as a government or anyone presided over such elective positions, and you are saddled with the responsibility. You collect security allowances or allocation or whatever in that regard, and you fail to protect the people. You should be held responsible. There is no messing words about that. So we, including the security operatives, the masses and the public, must ensure we hold the government accountable, call them to book, because if there is crisis, if there is escalation, it will definitely get to everyone. If not you, of course, someone closer to you, your neighbor or the rest, or in generality, we are humans. We should have that empathy. We don't rejoice in iniquity. The government makes us look inferior, makes the masses look as if nobody cares for them. If there is proactiveness or response, a very good response time, all those crises would have been nipped at the bud and the perpetrators of this heinous crime brought to book. The unfortunate thing is that we see people invade communities, kill, and go scot-free. Nobody gets them arrested. And impunity keep repeating. It is quite unfortunate. The government should do what is needful and stop the blame game. Thank you for watching. Let's have your own reaction regarding these developments. We discuss issues in the interest of humanity, not in the interest of anyone or any political party. I think you have to get this correct, and that is what we stand for.